Culinary St. Louis staple found in many area diners. We're talking about the Slinger.
Maybe you've heard of them, but have never had one. Steve Harris decided to take a bite out of a dish that's making St. Louis proud.
Inside the Courtesy Diner,
2 eggs, bacon, and hash browns.
you'll find a legend right there between the steak and eggs and the Devil's Delight. The Slinger.
It's a plate of hash browns with 1 hamburger patty, 2 eggs, however you want them, with a side of toast. It's all covered in chili, and you can add a tamale. It's topped with cheese, onions, jalapenos.
Christina Teal has been a waitress here for 15 years. She knows the Slinger well.
It is a St. Louis traditional plate.
And she's served a few.
I've had people order 2 of them at a time.
I'm going to be honest with you, I've never actually had one of these until now.
It's every food group and then some on a plate. But I wanted to know the history of this St. Louis staple.
The Slinger was born in St. Louis. I'm not sure when or where.
George Mahey has been the food editor at St. Louis Magazine for 15 years.
The Slinger is just one of these kind of hash, mishmash, kitchen sink type dishes that for some reason has won the hearts and the arteries of many St. Louisans.
You can get them at a lot of different places, so who makes it best?
It's kind of different strokes for different folks. The diners in town are most known for their Slingers, but some of the nicer breakfast places do different versions of it. And again, depending on your taste, that can be, more appealing for sure.
And what about that name, Slinger?
To be honest, I don't know where that came from, but it certainly is something that everybody knows about. Everybody's had one, at least.
Good thing I didn't wear my white sweater today. The one thing George and Christina agreed on was who's eating them.
It's one of those items that you either order after a late night and then go home and go to bed, or you get the next morning and go home and go to bed.
After being out all night, it's a good hangover food. All that grease just soaks all the alcohol up.
So now that you know as much as I could find out about the Slinger, my story must come to an end. And the best way to end a story like this, with an empty plate and a full stomach. Steve Harris, News 4.